Everyone. Good evening. Thank you for coming to this presentation. My name is Craig Anderson. I'm one of the friendly and enthusiastic librarians here at the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons at Kean University. I'm going to do a brief presentation here on how you can get to some of the nursing and allied health resources that we have available in our library/learning commons. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to the Learning Commons homepage, and you can get to this through learningcommons.kean.edu, Learning Commons all one word, .kean.edu, or you can even get there by going to library.kean.edu, and then that will kind of forward to this other URL up here, libguides.kean.edu/NTLC, Nancy Thompson Learning Commons. You can also get here from the regular Kean University homepage. If you go up to quick links in the corner and pull down that menu, there's an option for Learning Commons. It's like the 5th or 6th from the bottom. So right now, when you go to this page, it will take you to something called the LC Engagement Zone. And this is a pop-up window that we've kind of put here for the time being, especially as we are in the time of COVID. We wanted to be able to get the things that students would need when working from home kind of right here front and center. So we created this LC Engagement Zone thing. And just kind of to briefly overview, from here you can get to your Blackboard account. You can register. We're having an OER conference in a few weeks. This window here is our list of A to Z databases. We are going to be going there pretty soon, but I first want to show you one other thing. And then we have tutoring, of course. We have a writing center as well. We have OER, open educational resources. And you can schedule an appointment with a librarian, with one of our librarians that work here. If you're having trouble, if you're struggling with your research, you can go to research support and schedule an appointment with one of us. And then here we have a list of the workshops that we're going to be giving, like this one. But for right now, there's some other things I want to show you on the main homepage. So I'm just going to X out of this window. I don't know if you can see the little X up here. You kind of have to hover your mouse up there to kind of make it show up. And then before I go on, there's one other thing. There's the Learning Commons support chat. There's a little chat window right here on the side where you can chat with a librarian or library staff member. It's designed so that we, the librarians, and our staff, the Learning Commons staff, we monitor this chat channel during the day when we're here, regular working hours. So if you have a question, it's one of us will usually pick it up first, but if we don't get to it in time, if there's nobody here, or if you sign into the chat service, late at night or something like that after the building is closed, it is set to forward your question to another librarian or library staff worker somewhere in the United States, and I think Canada even. Somebody else will be able to pick up your question. So they might not necessarily be able to answer any Kean specific questions, but they will be a librarian or somebody in the library service industry, so that they should be able to answer basic reference support. I'm just going to close this for right now, and I'm going to start by going to WorldCat Discovery. This is the main search bar on our page. A lot of people like to go right to this one. This was originally just our book catalog. We had a book catalog search bar right here. And this does still search for books within the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons, but it's also opened up to OER materials and some articles. Not quite as many articles as you would get going through the databases, but there are some articles to be found here, as well as ebooks and multimedia like streaming video and audio files, things like that. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to do a search, something within the nursing and allied health field. I'm going to do a search for multiple sclerosis. And when I do this, I'm actually going to put these words in quotation marks. This is one of my dirty librarian tricks that I like to use often. Anytime you have a multiple word phrase, a 2-word phrase or a 3-word phrase, any number of words together, it's always a good idea to put quotation marks around those. That way it will make sure that when it does the search, those words are together. We're not interested in like a book or an article that has the word multiple in one paragraph and some other kind of sclerosis in another paragraph. We only want it when it's those 2 words put together. I have a story about this. We had a Shakespeare student in here once, and she was doing research on Shakespeare wrote a play called As You Like It. And she just searched for As You Like It without the quotes, and she found every article that had the word as, you, like, and it somewhere in the article. So she, like every article ever. So I suggested she put quotes around it so it's only As You Like It, those 4 words in that order. But for right now, we're not going to search for Shakespeare. We're going to search for multiple sclerosis in our WorldCat discovery. And when I say, let me make that a little bit bigger. When I say WorldCat Discovery, that's the name of the product that we're searching. WorldCat is kind of sort of short for World Catalog. Librarians love to abbreviate the word catalog to just cat because most of us are crazy cat ladies. I've got 4. So it will search for books and other items kind of anywhere in the world. Right now, we have it set to, I don't know if you can see over here, we have it set to default to the Kean University Nancy Thompson Library collection. So all of these are going to be specifically from the Kean University Nancy Thompson Library. What we can do is we can change this to libraries worldwide, and it will include items held by other libraries. But however, you'll notice that the list didn't change very much. No matter which of these you select, it is set to give our Nancy Thompson Learning Commons materials kind of precedence over materials held by other libraries. So something general like multiple sclerosis, we've got 437, 526 results here. And it's going to bring the Kean University materials up first, up to the top of the list. Beyond that, what it usually does is a relevance search. So it will try and find the most relevant items to what we're searching for. So the first one to come up is an ebook. It's just called Multiple Sclerosis. So that's exactly what we put in here. There's an e-journal right here called Multiple Sclerosis as well. And you can view both of those. You can either click here for View ebook, or you can go, oops, why does it scroll down so far? Okay. Or you can click on the title. This will give you a little bit more information. It'll give you a little description here. You can view the description or view other editions of this. If you don't want the 2006 edition, you want some other edition, you can see what other editions are available as well. And then from right here, we can click here to view the actual ebook. This is going to take us to the ebook. This is in a database called ProQuest. I'm going to talk a little bit about ProQuest later. ProQuest is a vendor. They're just one of the biggest databases, and they do have an extensive ebook collection. So this just brought us right to the electronic version of the book. And you'll notice here it's got all of the different components of that book, from the table of contents, the introduction, to all of the different, it seems like everything's fast facts. Is the title of the book? Oh, it's the Fast Facts series, I guess. So it's got all of the different chapters here as well. We can just click on the full text for one of these, and it's going to take us to the full text of that chapter. Make this bigger too, right? Because this is kind of small. And then we can scroll through here. They also have the full text available just as HTML, just kind of plain text. This is the plain text. These are all of the words that were in that previous chapter. So that's just another way of showing it. It's going to be the same thing. The major types of multiple sclerosis based on distinctive and clinical presentations are remitting, relapsing, etc. So if we go back to here, that's exactly what it says here. It's just not formatted in the cool way that it is in the original publication. But I should save that until we talk about ProQuest in a little while later. Let me just go back to our list of items. I'm going to close out of this ebook. And then we have other things. We have journals. We have online journals that you can access. A lot of ebooks here. What I was looking for is an actual book. Okay. So here's a good example. This one here is actually held by other libraries worldwide. As I said before, when we selected libraries worldwide, it's going to show us some things that are not actually held by Kean University. So if this is a book that you really need, you think that this multiple sclerosis book is better than any of the other ones that we actually have, you can click on this, and then right here it's going to have a button that says request this item through interlibrary loan. For those of you not familiar with interlibrary loan, it's a service through which we can order things from other libraries. And the way that works is that if we don't have this book, for example, it actually tells you right here what libraries do have this particular item. So we don't have this particular book, but one of our students really needs this one. So we'll try and order it from the NYU BOPS library, or from CUNY or Rutgers or Columbia University. And one of these libraries, probably not Princeton, one of these libraries will lend us this item so that our student will be able to borrow that and use that particular book. And this is actually a free service. So when we get something like, let's say, from Rutgers University, they just kind of give it to us for free with the understanding that someday down the road there's going to be a Rutgers student that's going to desperately want something that only Kean has, and we'll lend that to them. So we create like a free trade agreement between libraries. The bad news about this is that it's not an overnight service. It can sometimes take a week or 2 weeks. Usually not quite that long, but depending on what the book is and which libraries are willing to lend it to us, it might take a little while longer to get there. And that's just, if you click here where it says request item through interlibrary loan, it will take you to the little interlibrary loan form where you can put in all of your information here and then click submit down here. So it does also show you the libraries that do have this, just in case, like let's say you have a younger brother or sister that happens to go to Columbia University Health Science Library. Maybe they can get the book for you, or if you have contacts at the New York Medical College, maybe you can get that book easier. And the location that it defaults to, kind of right here, is just building L 1000 Mark. That's literally this building that I'm in right now. But if you want to change that, if you don't live near Kean, like for example, I actually live all the way down in Brick, down the shore, near Point Pleasant. So I can put this, and I can see here actually Rutgers is closer to me, and then Princeton after that. And then finally New York. But if you're somewhere else, if you could be across the country, if you're if you're not a local student in New Jersey, you can just put in your zip code right here, or the name of your town or your state, and then this will kind of try and figure out which libraries are closer to you. But if you just request this item through interlibrary loan, you don't have to worry about that. We'll find the book for you and have it delivered here, and then you can come pick it up when we let you know that it's here. Okay, I was actually looking for one that we do have here. It seems like I'm looking through a lot of these. For the ones that we do have, you know what? I can narrow this down to only print books. Okay, so the first one that comes up here, occupational therapy and multiple sclerosis. Now this gives us a call number right here, and if this were during a normal time, you would be able to just kind of come into the library, wander upstairs, find the RM section, and check that book out. However, for right now, what we have is a system through which, if you click on the title of this book, Down here, where before we saw that interlibrary loan button, because that was a book that we didn't actually have here, instead we have place a hold button. So what you would do is you would place a hold on this particular book, and then we would be notified that a student needs this book. So we would go upstairs and get it for you, bring it downstairs to our front desk, and then you would get sent an email that allows you to check off on the calendar the date and time that you want to come pick this book up, just so that we don't have people wandering all over the building, in the time of COVID. What we're doing right now is allowing people to place holds on books so that we get them and bring them down front so you can schedule a time to pick it up. So that's pretty straightforward. And of course, that will be changing, I'm assuming, once we get out of this whole COVID thing. So that's pretty much it. Some of these will be articles as well. The articles are pretty straightforward. They just come with another shiny blue button. Oh, no, this is a print book. Did I? Oh, because I didn't uncheck print books. The articles, and it will tell you right here whether it's a peer-reviewed article or some other kind of article. And it comes here with this shiny blue button that allows you to just click on it, and it will take you to the full text of this article. This looks like an EBSCO database, but it doesn't say so. So here's the full abstract of the article and all of this information that you might need, but more importantly, the PDF is right up here on the upper left. And this will take us to the full PDF of this particular article. So, okay, so that's the WorldCat catalog. That is, that's the quickest and easiest way to find, especially to find books, but also to find a certain number of articles. However, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go back to the Learning Commons homepage, and I'm going to get rid of these windows again. And then I'm going to go right here to Databases A to Z. It's right under the search bar. Databases A to Z, this is probably the better way of finding articles. Articles and, some multimedia items as well. When you look at our list of databases A to Z, now all these databases are provided, oops, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen here. All these databases are provided by different companies and vendors to give us access to kind of like the online version of articles in, in all these databases. So all these are subscription services. If you tried to get a subscription to one of these databases yourself, they're like ridiculously expensive, but you get them for free as Kane students. So that's good. That's a lie. You don't get them for free. You pay your tuition. So it's a good idea to use these. It's a lot more reliable information than you would find in, say, Google or most other search engines. Google Scholar is good though, but for right now, there's this whole list of 233 databases, and you can search them according to subject. If you are not sure where you want to go, you can search according to subject, and we do have like nursing and medicine available here. What I'm going to do right now, because I know which databases I want to go to specifically, I'm going to click on the E right here under the alphabetical list, which will take me to the EBSCO databases. Some of you are probably familiar with the EBSCO databases, at least a little bit. Librarians love to call EBSCO a database. It's actually a host of databases. That's why they call it EBSCO host sometimes. I like to think of EBSCO as a big evil corporation. They've been buying up these lesser databases in their bid for global domination. There's a funny story associated with that. That's only funny if you're a librarian over 45. So, within the EBSCO, dynasty of databases, you'll see EBSCO Business, EBSCO Education, EBSCO Humanities, etc. And then here we have the EBSCO Nursing, Health, and Medical Resources. I like to go to these because I feel like these are the best nursing and medicine databases that we have. Now, you'll see a number of them listed here under the EBSCO Nursing, Health, and Medical Resources, but the very first one on the list here I'm just going to check off some of these. The very first one on the list is Academic Search Premier. This is a multidisciplinary database, so it's not specifically a medicine and nursing database. This one covers a little bit of everything, so no matter what your topic is, there's a good chance there'll be something about it under Academic Search Premier. But now here's CINAHL. This is probably our best nursing and medicine database. I think so anyway. CINAHL, and I worked here for like 5 years before I finally found out what CINAHL stands for. It's Cumulative Index of Nursing and Allied Health Literature. So it's got a lot of things on nursing and allied health. There is, of course, Medline, which is very useful as well. It does have a lot of articles available in Medline, but it also has like some government documents from the National Library of Medicine, like the Department of Health and Human Services. And then lastly on this list, there's Sport Discus. I'm not going to check that off for right now, but Sport Discus is a great database for sports and physical education and fitness, but it does have a lot of articles about sports medicine as well. For right now, there's no law saying that we can't just check all of these off if we want to. In fact, you know what? Let's check off Sport Discus just for laughs. I'm going to click on continue. There's a big yellow continue button down here and also one up top here. It doesn't matter which one you choose. And then this is going to bring me to my search screen. Now, what we can do this search screen is I'm going to do the same search as I did before, but this is articles, so we can be a little bit more sclerosis. We can be a little bit more specific than just general multiple sclerosis. And usually I found that the best way to search in the databases is if you use different words and phrases, usually separated by the word and. So this method of searching is called Boolean, and it says so down here, Boolean phrase searching. It was designed by a guy named Boole. He was a mathematician, George Boole, I think. He was a mathematician. So a lot of times these start looking very algorithmic. Multiple sclerosis and immunosuppressants and this and this. You can just keep stringing ands together. I usually like to stick to 2 or 3 immunosupp, and then I'm going to put an asterisk. I like to stick to 2 or 3 different search terms. We could put multiple sclerosis and immunosuppressants and myelin and brain and reactions, and we can just keep putting a whole big string of words up here. But the more words you kind of put into the search bar here, the more you're narrowing your search down to that one magical article that's got all of those words in it. And that article might not exist, or there might only be 2 or 3 articles that have, all of those bases covered. So I like to stick to 2 or 3 different words and or phrases. And if this brings me, 17 billion results, then I'll know that I should have been a little bit more specific. So again, what I did with multiple sclerosis is I put it in quotes, keep those 2 words together. With the term immunosuppressant, I just put immunosupp with the asterisk. The asterisk acts as a wildcard symbol in EBSCO. It actually acts as a wildcard symbol in a lot of the databases that we have. So this will find any word that starts IMMUNOSUP, etc. So immunosuppressant or immunosuppressants, plural, or immunosuppressive. So it finds different variations of this word. If you come upon if you're searching for a word that has a lot of different variations, it's always a good idea to just kind of shorten it as much as you can and then put the asterisk there. And when I say as much as you can, you want to leave enough of the word that it's still that term, that idea. I wanted to find articles on multiple sclerosis and immunosuppressants. I could have just, cut it down to im, for example, with the asterisk, and that would find plenty about immunosuppressants and immunosuppressive agents, but it's also going to find the word like immediate or immoderation or something like that, immoderate, any word that starts with IMM. So you want to put at least, immune would be good. That would find anything about multiple sclerosis and the immune system, which is, probably everything. So I want to put at least immunosup. And then down here, there are lots of ways that you can narrow down your search. You don't have to do that right now. You can do that after you've done the search and see what pops up. Then you can narrow your search down further. But one thing I do like to do before I do the search is to limit to only scholarly, peer-reviewed journal articles. I want my articles, I don't want just, editorials or, fluff pieces. I want only things that have gone through a peer review process by other experts in that field to make sure that the article is not biased and, relevant and reliable. So I'm going to do a search here, and it's going to bring up 7,039 results. That's a good result list. It's not too big. I mean, it's, it's a big search result list, but it's not unwieldy. So if we look down on the bottom left here, we notice that these go all the way back to 1967. I was -3 years old, so I'm going to, let's say, move it to the last 5 years. And that cut the results down to 2,166. Now, as I go down this list, what I'm looking for, I just want to find first an article where it actually has the full text. A lot of these have linked full text, and I'm going to talk about them in a little bit. Wow, a lot of these have linked full text. I could have limited to only full text articles, but I usually don't like to do that, and I'll tell you why in a bit. Okay, so looks like we have to go all the way down to number 24 to get a full text article. This one has the full text of this article, both as a PDF and as HTML full text. When we go to the PDF of this article, it gives us the entire article exactly the way that it appeared in the original publication. So this is great. We can just read this whole article, and then if we decide we have to, here's all the graphs and charts and stuff like that. If we decide we have to quote somebody right here, for example, we can tell that this appeared on page 3. So that's why I kind of like to have it in the original format, in the PDF format. We can also go to HTML full text, and this is similar to what we saw in ProQuest. This is all of the words of that article. So it's still the full article. You're not really missing anything. It's even got, in this case, it's got one of those charts. So again, you're not really missing anything if you just get the HTML full text. It's just only the words. It's not formatted in that, pretty way that it would have been in the original journal. But the one thing that I do like about HTML full text is that you can then have the article read to you in American, Australian, or British accent.
Background. Several disease-modifying drugs, DMDs, have been approved for the treatment of multiple sclerosis, MS.
So, and it's kind of like British robot accent in this case. So, but you get the idea. So you can have the article read to you. You can get stuff done around your house. Maybe there's a way that you can download the MP3 of this right here. If you want to try and listen to it in your car, if you're not afraid of falling asleep behind the wheel. So that's one of the good things about HTML full text. But usually I tend to prefer PDF full text. Now, going back to the result list. So that's when the article has the PDF full text or the HTML full text. Sometimes it doesn't have either of those things. Now I'm going to want to look for that. So actually in both of these cases here, we have one that says linked full text. What linked full text will usually do is take you to the full text. Linked full text just means that we've got the full text for this, but it's not in the EBSCO databases that we search for. So it's not in CINAHL, Academic Search, Premier, Sport, Discuss, or Medline. But if we click on that, it will take us to this other page. Oh, no, it won't. Oh, must have cookies enabled. And I'm on a computer that's not mine, so I can't actually enable cookies on this computer. Wait, let me go. Oh, back. There we go. Come on. There we go. So yeah, unfortunately, that didn't seem to work. Let me try one of these other linked full texts. Nope, same thing. I guess I just need to have cookies enabled on this computer, so it's not going to. Usually it takes you to the full text of that article. However, every once in a blue moon, it will take you to a page. And I like to warn people about this. Sometimes when you click on linked full text, it will take you to a page where you can like order the article online and you can like pay and like give them your credit card. It's not supposed to do that. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money, but like, don't do that ever. It's just the way that the subscriptions kind of go in and out of, they kind of lapse sometimes. So every once in a while, like the Journal of Neurology, their agreement with EBSCO might lapse so that EBSCO won't be allowed to, publish Journal of Neurology articles anymore. So sometimes you'll click on linked full text and they'll want you to buy it. But if you're independently wealthy, like, please feel free. But usually there's much easier ways to get that article, not the least of which is interlibrary loan, which I told you about before. You can still get to interlibrary loan even if you're not getting it through WorldCat. If you go back to the Learning Commons homepage and under Our Services, there's an option for interlibrary loan. So that's if you didn't use the book catalog, if you just found this article in EBSCO, you can still get to interlibrary loan this way. And then there's the main interlibrary loan form right there. So that's linked full text. You'll notice that there's another thing called Full Text Finder. It's almost exactly the same thing. Full Text Finder is designed to find this article for you, even if it's not available in an EBSCO database. If it's in ProQuest or ScienceDirect or JSTOR, Full Text Finder will find the article for you. However, I do want to call your attention to this pretty green and blue logo right here. This is the Full Text Finder logo, and the only reason I want you to memorize that logo is that in some of the other databases that we subscribe to, it doesn't actually say Full Text Finder. It just has that logo, and you're supposed to magically know what that logo means. So if you ever see that logo hanging out by itself and the article is not available full text, like try clicking on that and it will usually take you to the full text. Let me see if that'll work right here or if it won't work because I don't have the cookies enabled. Feeling it's going to give me the sad little page. Oh, no, there's the full article. Okay. So yeah, this did in fact take us to the full article here. Or did it? It's asking us to sign in. Is there a place where I can download the PDF? No, it doesn't look like. Okay. Yeah, in this case, it looks like it's one of those cases where it said, or I guess you have to register. And I don't think I can register from here. Or it's going to ask you to pay for it. That's exactly what I was warning you guys about. So yeah, that's the Full Text Finder. The thing about Full Text Finder is that it's smart enough that if this article is not available in any of the databases that we subscribe to, Full Text Finder just won't show up. So there'll be a blank space here. In this case, we would have to just try and order this through interlibrary loan. Okay, so I'm tempted to go to one of these other full text finders just to show you that it doesn't always make you pay for it. This looks like it's the same article. Oh, no, this is the full article. Okay. It looked like it was the same database is what I was going to say. Okay. So yes, in this case, it did take us to the full article. Full text finder is usually pretty reliable. It just so happens that every once in a blue moon, like just now, it takes us to a page where we can buy the article, and it's really not supposed to. Okay, one other thing that I like to tell people is, as you're looking through this list of results, sometimes if you're not finding exactly what you're looking for, you're going through this list of results, none of these articles are good, you're not really finding something that's going to help you, it's always a good idea to kind of look under the subject headings. The subjects will kind of give you a better idea of how EBSCO thinks in this case. So it will list some of the subjects covered by this article. So if all these articles are bad, but you know what, this one's not too bad, you can work with this one. look to see what subjects are here. And this does have multiple sclerosis and immunology, but it also has coronavirus infections and prevention and control. So maybe we want to try and look under, let's copy this. And I'm going to put this whole thing in quotes as well. I'm just going to get rid of that and coronavirus prevention and control and multiple sclerosis. Let's see what comes up under here. It'll probably be a much shorter list. It might only be that one article. Oh no, your initial search query did not yield any results. That's odd, because we literally took this right from that, I think it was this one, right from that detailed record. So, but that's another thing that you can do as you're searching, like mine the kind of area here under the subject headings for other search terms that you can use in your search up here. Now, I mentioned before, there's a lot of things here suggested. I usually don't like to go with their suggestions because I like to use these other tricks with the quotes and the asterisk, etc. What I was going to mention before is that librarians, when we're doing the search, we like to use the word and, this and that and something else. You can also use the word or. Like, for example, if we want to look for the ways that multiple sclerosis affects teenagers, usually it doesn't. It usually strikes much later in life, as far as I know. But if we want to find the ways in which multiple sclerosis affects teens or adolescents, what we can do, and of course, I did this again where I truncated both of these words, teen, teens, teenager, teenager, or adolescent or adolescents or adolescents. So I truncated both of these terms. When I put the or there, I'm saying that I want articles about multiple sclerosis, and I don't care if the article calls them teens or if it calls them adolescents. I just want multiple sclerosis and someone in this age group. When I use the or phrase, I like to put parentheses around those two terms so that EBSCO knows, or whichever database I'm in, knows that it's these two terms that are interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. So this is, again, like I was saying before about George Boole. He was a mathematician, so you start looking at like math problems. Oh, that's the other thing I should mention, that when you use the and, because of is it the communicative or the associative property of math, it makes absolutely no difference which of these words or phrases we put first. If I put multiple sclerosis first, that doesn't mean that it's going to emphasize multiple sclerosis as well as teens or adolescents. I could have put this first as well. I could put something else in front of this and multiple sclerosis. It doesn't matter the word order. And that's why I like to use parentheses, so that it knows that these are the two that are ambivalent about. Okay, wow, that was more than I thought would come up. And we'll notice that it's still remembering that I only want articles within the last 5 years, and I only want scholarly peer-reviewed items as well. This is one of the things that you see a lot of in the medical databases, unfortunately, is that you usually have to kind of hunt around for a while before you find an article that has the full text. And the reason for that is just a lot of these medical journals, they're really expensive, and they don't let their articles be freely open for EBSCO quite as easily. But you can find some good articles that are full text. And as I said before, you can always order these through interlibrary loan if it's something that we don't have full text. Okay, so that's the EBSCO database. The databases in general, they tend to rank these results according to relevance, as I said before with the WorldCat. But you can change that if you want only the most recent article at the top of the list, the date newest. Come on. Oh, there, it's just very slow. So yeah, here, this is the most recent article. And if we look at the date, it's March 16, 2021. Wow, that's like a couple days ago. 4 days ago. So yeah, this is the most recent article about, it says right here, adolescent with multiple sclerosis, but it might not necessarily be the most relevant to what we were looking for. Like this one, for example, this is demyelinating disorders and mimickers. So it's related to multiple sclerosis, and it talks about pediatric inflammatory demyelinating disorders, but it's not exactly what we were looking for. But it is very recent. As we can see, it's again March 13th, 2021 in this case. So I usually like to stick with the relevance search, so it's the most relevant article kind of up front and center. Okay, so that's the EBSCO database. I'm just going to show a few more databases really quickly. Let me go back to our A to Z list of databases. And I'm going to go to one called, I'm going to go to the Ovid database. Ovid database is specifically nursing journals. I tend to feel that Ovid is not quite as user-friendly as EBSCO. For all my talk about EBSCO being an evil corporation, they do have a very user-friendly interface. But with Ovid, I can do the same exact search here. I should have copied and pasted it from that previous search. I can do a search here and see what comes up. Now, Ovid, and I was just about to say, Ovid tends to be even worse than EBSCO sometimes about having the full article as a PDF. But of course, now that I was about to say that, the first 4, 5, 6, 7 articles have the full text article here. I'm conflating this with another database that we have is called the Cochrane database. And I'm not going to show right now. We have another database that's called the Cochrane database, and that uses the same Ovid search engine, and that's mostly just an abstract database. So anything you find in the Cochrane database, 9 times out of 10, it seems that you have to try and order it through interlibrary loan. In my experience, anyway. I probably shouldn't say that because it might not be true. But I feel like whenever I'm looking in Cochrane, I then have to try and order things through interlibrary loan if I find them. But for the rest of these, in just regular Ovid database, it seems like it does have the full article as PDF. Yeah, look at that. Perirolandic demyelinating lesions. Ooh. Okay, and there is a way, and this is something that I'm not as familiar with. I really need to kind of go through and familiarize myself with it. You can add these articles to something called My Projects. When you add an article to My Projects, you then have to create an account with Ovid, and then they will save kind of like a folder of all the articles you want to collect kind of in one space. Ovid will kind of keep track of your research. And then I'm pretty sure there's a way that you can, I have to ask one of my colleagues about this. I'm pretty sure there's a way you can set up alerts so that if tomorrow Ovid posts a new article about multiple sclerosis and immunosuppressants, I will get that article. It will like alert me, send me an email, say, hey, this article was just published. You can also do that through EBSCO as well. But again, I'm not going to get into that right now. Kind of outside of the scope of this presentation. Okay, so this is the Ovid database. And one of the things that I love about the Ovid database, and this is something a few of our other databases have as well, on the side here, they'll find like find similar. So if none of these articles are really helpful to us, but this one's kind of okay, it's in the right ballpark, we can go here to find similar to this article, and it will find us similar articles to this one. And it's taking its time. How much time do we have? Yeah, like 10 minutes. Oh, and it blocked a pop-up. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. So yes, these are articles that were similar to that other one. The other thing it has on the side here is find citing articles. So this article right here could be a great article. This might be, the article we've been waiting our whole life for. But then we look at the date and we're like, well, it's 2003. That's kind of old. Surely there must have been some more recent research in this particular field here about hematopoietic stem cell plantation for multiple sclerosis. We can go over here on the side and find citing articles. We can find out if anybody else has used this article in their own references page. So if we go to find citing articles, so based on this research here are 8 other articles that mention that June 2003 article in their references page. So it lets you do kind of like a search forward. Professors love this feature because then if they've ever had anything published in Ovid, they can do that. They can search to see who's been quoting them for that ego boost. But I do like because it kind of helps you keep updated with all the more recent research and kind of do a historiography, I guess, of different articles. So anyway, so that's the Ovid database. We have one more database that I want to talk about really quickly. And then I promise I'm almost done. We have another database called Science Direct, which is, I feel like it's one of our most science-y databases. Science Direct is brought to us by the fine folks at Elsevier. And I feel that Science Direct is sometimes less user-friendly than Ovid or EBSCO. You can just do a keyword search here. We can do those same keywords. Did I do it right? Yeah. And mute us up. And I meant to mention that when you're searching in Science Direct or Ovid, there's no way to limit yourself to only peer-reviewed articles because these are all peer-reviewed. Yeah, we're all good to go. Oh, no, sorry. You know what? I think it's impressive. I think in Science Direct, you used to be able to use the asterisk to truncate words, but I don't think you can do that anymore. And in fact, you can't. Science Direct used to be one of my favorites. It's let me down so much. But it is still a good database. Don't sleep on it. So it has these articles. Again, it did them in a relevance search, sort by relevance, or we can sort by date. And a lot of these tend to have the full PDF, which is excellent. And they also do have, if you find an article that's a little bit older, this will also give you citing articles. Oh, in this case, there's 0 citing articles, even though this article came out in 2009. So, but we shouldn't be judgy about that because sometimes there can be a great article and it just hasn't been cited by anybody because it's a very niche topic or subject. And this does seem to be very specific, so it's not too surprising that nobody's cited it because it looks like it's just this particular type of therapy. So yeah, and they do also have recommended articles as well. So these will be similar to that article that we were just at. So, okay. So, so that's our databases. I'm gonna go back to Learning Commons homepage again. So yes, that is our databases. Those are our databases. And like, please feel free. I just showed you really EBSCO and Ovid and Science Direct, but there's so many more. There is that one called the Cochrane database, which I said before is like part of Ovid. Tends to have more of the abstract than the full text, but it might be useful. Oh, and when I did the search, I mentioned that I don't like to check off that full text only box because there could be a great article about my topic and whatever database I'm looking at just doesn't happen to have it as full text. I want to still at least know that that article exists so that I can order it from somewhere else or just kind of track it down using all of my library skills. So in that same vein, I was going to let you know that in addition to databases A to Z right here, we also have periodicals A to Z. Now the periodicals list, the periodicals A to Z is only going to help you if you know specifically what article you're looking for. So if you're just looking for something generically on multiple sclerosis and immunosuppressants, periodicals list probably isn't going to help you. But if you've got a best friend who says, oh, there was a great article on immunosuppressants for treating multiple sclerosis in the August 2019 issue of the Journal of Myelin Research or something like that. I just kind of made that up. And you say, okay, that's great, but where do I find the Journal of Myelin Research? Is it in EBSCO? Is it in ProQuest? ProQuest is another great database. Is it in Ovid? You don't want to search all 233 of our databases just to find this one Journal of Myelin something something. So in that case, you would go to the periodicals A to Z. Oh, sorry. It's coming. There it is. So you would go to the periodicals A to Z and you would type in Journal of Myelin. Is there Journal of Myelin anything? Something was coming up. Okay. Journal of Multiple Sclerosis. No, nothing? Okay. Journal of, oh, okay. Journal of Immunology. Journal of Immunology, there we go. So your best friend just said there's a great article in the Journal of Immunology about multiple sclerosis research, August of 2019. And you go here and it says the Journal of Immunology, not to be confused with the Scandinavian Journal of Immunology or the Iranian Journal of Immunology. It says that this is available in EBSCO open access journals from 1998 to the present, or free access journals from Highwire, same range. Now, what you might notice here is that it says it's got a full text delay of 1 year. So what that means is that the Journal of Immunology, the people who publish the Journal of Immunology, are willing to have all of their back issues be given to EBSCO and also to this Highwire database, just not the current year, because they want somebody to actually go out and buy the current year worth of their journals. A lot of these, they'll have that full text delay. That's called an embargo. Something like Journal of Immunology Research right here, it's got it going back to 2014, but all the way to the present. So if it was published yesterday, you could still get it, the Journal of Immunology Research, on Academic Search Premier. But some of these up here, they do have that embargo, that full text delay. So this would be fine if we're looking for, say, an article from August of 2019, like I just kind of made up before, because that will still be here. But if we want anything from before March of 2020, or anything from after March of 2020, then we're unfortunately out of luck. So, and then once we get into April of this year, then the March 2020 issue of the Journal of Immunology will show up, assuming it's monthly. I don't even know if it's monthly. No, they do have, it seems like it comes out every March. Oh, no, okay, this is the whole past year. So it shouldn't have any of these. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my tab. It shouldn't have any of these available because this is still 2021. It shouldn't have any of the 2020s available, or well, it should have January and February. I'm going to go to the 2010s and then go to 2019. And here we go, August. Oh, it's bi-monthly. Look at that. And this is all the August 15, 2019 issue. And here are all the articles that would have appeared in that issue. So we can go to like this one, for example, and this is the full article. And it looks like it also has it available as a PDF or a PDF and is that SI? I don't know what that even is. But you get the idea. One of the things that usually when you get to this list here, it usually will allow you to search within this journal specifically. So you might not even have a specific article in mind. You might just be doing research on, say, multiple sclerosis, and you happen to know the Journal of Immunology is a really top shelf journal as far as multiple sclerosis research. So you want to find everything that this particular journal has on multiple sclerosis. And I forgot to put quotes around it, but it found over 5,000 results. So that's great. Usually when you're looking in, let me go back. Usually when you're looking in the periodicals A to Z database, it will take you to a landing page, which will allow you to search specifically within that journal. So that's usually very helpful. Okay, one last thing I want to show you, and then I promise you can go. We also have the research guides available right here. These research guides, these are study guides that have been created by we, the librarians, to be like an overview of all the subjects that are taught at Kane. So if you've been listening to absolutely none of what I've been saying here today, please visit the research guides. They'll be very helpful to you. We have research guides here on nursing, for example. We actually have one specifically for COVID-19 pandemic resources. Let's just go to the nursing one. This was done by my colleague, Linda, I believe. Yeah, Linda. And then from this landing page right here, it's just got some basic reference databases that are going to help you with nursing research, evidence-based medicine reviews. That's that Ovid thing again. Here's a couple of encyclopedias and dictionaries specific to nursing and world health. And then up top here, there are all these tabs that can help us. We can find books on nursing. We can find articles on nursing. I really only told you about those few databases, but if we look here, this will give us some ideas for other databases as well. There's that EBM one again. The Joanna Briggs Institute database is here as well. There's Medline, there's the ProQuest, Science Direct is there again, etc. And what Linda's put on, this isn't available on every research guide, but here she put, oh, I'm not sharing it again. I'm so sorry. So I'm sorry, we started on the Start Your Research Here page, and it gives us some reference databases right here. Here's some other reference books that we have in our building, encyclopedias, dictionaries, things like that. There's a tab up here that will tell us how to find books about nursing specifically, how to find articles. Again, I only told you about those few databases, the EBSCO Nursing Health and Medicine and Ovid and Science Direct. I kind of mentioned ProQuest. But this has right here under Find Articles, evidence-based medicine reviews, the Joanna Briggs Institute, Nursing and Allied Health databases through ProQuest. ProQuest is another good one. If you think of EBSCO as being the Coca-Cola of databases, ProQuest is Pepsi. There's Science Direct again. We have, this is one that Linda put on this site specifically. They've got test preparation for the NCLEX exam. This will tell you everything you need to know about the NCLEX. And here there's a tab to find websites, and there's just one in general. If you just click on this tab, it will bring you general websites. But if you want to find specifically associations, clinical practice, evidence-based medicine, etc., you can go to any of those kind of subcategories. And the point of this is that ordinarily you're not expected to go to websites. We just assume that anything free on the web was done by a guy in his parents' basement just, making stuff up. But these websites have been evaluated by a librarian, in this case, Linda, to be more reliable sources of information. So you're not just going to find like Bob's nursing website. You're going to find National Institute of Nursing Research from the NIH, Kane's Department of Nursing, allnurses.com, Nursing Center Lipcott and Williams, and the same thing with all these other subcategories. Bandolier, which is a great site for evidence-based nursing, Evidence-Based Practice Resource Center, Strategies for Nurse Managers, so things like that. And then finally, there's a way you can cite your sources. It will tell you how to cite sources. I guess you're going to be using APA for this, and also how to get handouts. I think most nursing students use APA style. I could be wrong. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have for you. I'm going to go to, you know what? I'm not going to go to the homepage again. I'm going to go instead to this page with my cute PowerPoint presentation, and I'm just going to go to the next slide. So finally, this is contact information. If you're having any kind of trouble with your research, if you need any kind of help, please feel free to contact me. My name again is Craig Anderson. That's my email address, cjanders@kane.edu, and there's a phone number for you. That's the phone number for my office. I'm not always in my office. Like right now, I'm in kind of a back room where we had a computer where I can connect. But you can leave a message on my office phone number and I will get back to you. You don't have to add me on Instagram. I won't be heartbroken. It's mostly pictures of my cats and my wife's cooking. And on this slide, I also included Blackboard support because we've been having a lot of questions about Blackboard lately. So I've included Blackboard support number and, you know, our contact information for the Office of Computer and Information Services on campus. And then finally down here, this is the Learning Commons homepage that I went to before. Okay, so I know I've gone kind of over time. I apologize for that. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Let me just stop sharing right now. Go back to this. There we go. I hope this was hopeful for you. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you got a lot out of this. Please feel free to contact me if you have any other kind of questions or comments or anything like that. I'm recording this on Friday, so if you're watching this right now, have a good weekend. And I hope to see you all in the Learning Commons someday in the future. So please feel free to stop by. Thank you, and have a good night.